Welcome again to another episode of the Dialed and Driven Hockey Mentality Podcast. Chris Palmer, Piranha Training, mental performance coach for hockey players. Jeff Lerg, goalie mentors, former professional hockey player. Every week we come bringing you things that are actionable, things you can actually use to help you to go after your big dream or help the ones you love go after the big dream. And today we have something special. Today we have someone who is young and powerful and capable. She is amazing. She's all over the news because of this ability she has to perform in the highest kinds of pressure. It's really, really hard. We all know pressure's at every level, but pressure at the top seems like a magic trick when you get past it, and she has. I want you to know that she's been willing to talk about things to actually help people get what they want, and those are going to be the answers we have today. Jeff, can you do our introduction?
Yeah, today we have two-time Women's National Championship member from Wisconsin. Kirsten Simms is joining us. We're super pumped to have her on. I've known her 7-8 years, so Kirsten, really excited that you're able to take your time out of your busy day as a college athlete to come and join us. So thank you for coming on. And let's talk about what people probably have seen you all over social media for in April, the Women's National Championship game. Kirsten, your team was down. You can kind of take us through your last month and a half of your life. What took place in that National Championship game?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me. Yeah, so we were playing Ohio State in the National Championship game, and it's actually been our third year in a row playing them in the finals. So since I've gotten to Wisconsin, every year in the finals we've been playing Ohio State, so it's been kind of a little bit of a bloodbath with them. But so we were having like an incredible season overall. I mean, everybody was like, it was our national championship to lose, quite honestly, because of how good our team was. And we were down most of the game against Ohio. I mean, they gave us an incredible game from the start. And we were heading to the third period. It was 3-2, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, 3-2. And they got a too many man penalty with like a minute and a half left in the game, I'm pretty sure, right around there. And so we went on the power play and obviously pulled our goalie to try and get one. And their goalie made some unbelievable saves on us. And then with 18 seconds left, there was a puck covered in the crease. And so one of the players on my team actually saw that happen and came back to our bench and was all like sporadic and was like, somebody cover the puck, like we got to review it right now. And so we took the review and then we got awarded a penalty shot and I happened to take the penalty shot. And then that's what tied the game and it took us to overtime. We ended up winning.
Yeah, like in hockey terms, it was sick. It was awesome. Like I happened to be cued into the game. It was Sunday, right? It was a Sunday. I remember I got back home. I was like, the championship game's on. Let's check it out. Obviously, knowing you and some others just from around our Michigan market, let's check it out. Obviously, high profile game. We're watching it, and then the event that took place is the refs awarding the team a penalty shot. Your coach is looking around on the ice, and then there's kind of this infamous clip, we'll call it, of you raise your hand.
Yeah.
Like you raise your hand. He's looking for someone to take it, and then you voluntarily go and take it. And the background on you and I is I've been a goalie coach for a while in our market. You've been what we would be considered kind of a rink rat in our market. You've lived and breathed hockey and training, and you've developed this amazing skill set. And I think everyone in our area knows that you are just awesome on breakaways. Like you and your element, time and space to do whatever you want with the puck. You're dangerous. So, watching from afar, it wasn't really a surprise that you were confident in this setting. And then lo and behold, big players make big plays at big times in big games. You lived up to it. It was awesome. So you bury the tying goal on a penalty shot with 18 seconds left. Mm-hmm. And then you kept me watching. And then next thing you know, OT starts, and then you get the game winner. Like you had to have blacked out.
Yeah. I mean, I blacked out more so in the OT winner just because you don't really expect to do the back-to-back like that. Like, I mean, once we got to overtime, our team kind of knew, like, it was our game. Like, it was just, we settled right in, and we were playing our hockey, so it could have been anybody, and then it happened to me, and it was just, like you said, a blackout moment. But, I mean, the penalty shot was honestly the crazier part of the entire game. The overtime was just the extra.
Cherry on top.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, because all eyes are on you. like, and you, obviously, whether you really felt it or not, you displayed your confidence to go and do it, and you execute at the highest level. And it was super cool to see, just from a regular perspective from a fan, but then just knowing you and just knowing your background and seeing you for years in the rink and seeing you light up 18-year-old boys when you're a 14-year-old girl. Like, you can score on anyone as a youth kid. Like, I've had you shoot at my private lessons. There was times like these kids, boys, girls, would just be discouraged with you shooting on them because you're so deceptive and you have such a high skill set. So for me, it was like, oh yeah, obviously she could score. But anyways, it was super cool. And I know that's kind of maybe what you're most known for now. In our episodes, we love to learn a little bit about your past and kind of see your mentality. So let's talk about your current day with what you have going on right now. You're training for your senior year, and you're someone who is kind of accepted in this elite club in our market. Like you're going to go walk into the gym and there could be 10 NHLers training, and it's like, oh, there's Kirsten. So let's talk about that a little bit. Talk about your history here and your mentality, or your confidence that you have to kind of just walk in to the elite club and for it to be normal.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it started more so at a young age, just kind of being thrown into boys hockey for like quite some time, playing at a AAA level and kind of playing with what I say, like, my age group for the guys world is pretty elite coming from Michigan. So kind of being surrounded like that my whole life, you just kind of have to get used to it. I mean, it's definitely nerve-wracking from a little bit of a younger age, but at that point in time, it's like, yeah, these guys are studs, like, at that age, but they're not known as like, oh, they're going to play in the NHL yet, or they're drafted in the NHL yet. So you kind of just get used to them by being around them so much. So now when I come home at like an older age, it's definitely just like, kind of like, I've been around these guys for a while now. So it's like, you kind of just have to walk in there knowing that you've known them for a good amount of time, and they've kind of helped you become the player you are too, just by being surrounded by them at such a young age. That nowadays it's just a little bit more normal, but you're still gaining that level of like learning from them.
That's great. I just think about what you did, and I think of people at every level. There's guys in the NHL who wouldn't volunteer for the shot. It's the truth. And there's just something different about you, and maybe you don't even know what it is. Maybe you've just developed so much that this is just who you are. But I'd be really curious, especially if there's something useful for people who are going through this. Do you think there's something about you that allowed you to sit in that moment and say, I can make this happen? Because you know that it could have gone south, right? Could have not worked out.
Yeah.
And you've probably had situations where that happens. How did you feel like that was actually possible?
Yeah, I mean, for starters, it was definitely like my team had my back, which was huge for me. Like, a lot of my teammates were just like, they've seen me for the last 3 years. They've also known me since I was younger and know that I like eat up those moments, like getting to just go one-on-one with a goalie like that. So, I mean, they definitely instilled it with it, like, in me. And that was kind of where I just was able to like calm down. But then from a sense of that, like, in my own head at that moment, it's like, you gotta know you're scoring. Like, you can't have 1 second of hesitation, otherwise you're probably missing. And I mean, after like the moment with like my coach and everything like that, I mean, it was just like the confidence struck, and I knew once I touched that puck, like, I wasn't gonna miss, because I have never felt so calm in my life in such a high pressure situation, which I think is the craziest thing, because everybody's like, all eyes are on you, you mess up, like, game's probably over. And it was the exact opposite. It was like, game's not over, this is happening, like, we're gonna get the job done type of thing. Just because, like, with the group we had and the team we had, and like in that moment, it was just like make it or break it, and it didn't feel like that. Like, I just felt loose, and I felt like I was in my element, and it literally felt like I was at a Jeff Lerg goalie skate doing breakaways at the end for fun, because that's when I'm the most free, is when I'm just loose and acting like it's not that big of a actual situation. And I think that's where I succeeded the most in that point in time.
So you're actually saying you just executed what you knew. You just did your job. But you also said this really interesting thing. You said your teammates had your back. I imagine you get along pretty well with them. Right? So, and you're a star on that team, and yet you get along really well. Sometimes the star is abrasive. Sometimes the star doesn't fit in so well. It is interesting that the sport of your team matters to you. That actually helped you. It's a beautiful point. And it shows the importance of the team. I'd love to ask you, there was a time when you were a 4-year-old kid, 5-year-old kid, goofing around, having fun. And somewhere you went from that kid, kids believe they could be astronauts, but you actually continued to believe you could kind of be an astronaut. And that's what you are, right? You're this crazy, high-performing, ridiculous. You're changing this game. And I think that for everybody watching it, I'd love you to tell about, what was the moment for you when you felt like you really could be an astronaut? You really could be something special in this sport?
I mean, I feel like as much as you say, like, it kind of takes time for you to realize it, it was definitely kind of at a young age for me, just because I was playing at a high level of boys, and you didn't really see that often. And I think that just, like, gave me the confidence to continue on that route and that path. And I remember, like, this is like one of my favorite stories to tell, but I was 6 years old and I was watching like a Wisconsin game against somebody, and that was when like Breonna Decker and all these big name players were on like the Badgers at the time. And I looked at my dad and I was like, I'm gonna play for Wisconsin. I was like, at literally age 6, I was like, not a chance. Like, I will only play for Wisconsin, and from here on out, that's what I'm going to do. And I think I just set goals from, like I said, at age 6, which you don't really hear that often, but it was like the next thing was on my list from at that age, whether it was making the next AAA boys team, continuing on that path, and then what year I was going to commit, and then commit to Wisconsin and nowhere else, where I was going to play high school. To, like, I had this list from a very young age, so it was like I always had the next thing to look for, rather than just being like, oh, I want to play in the Olympics, or oh, I want to do this. I had little goals throughout my entire career to help me get to the big one.
Thank you for saying that line, Kirsten, because I always live by a similar phrase: take care of the small goals and the big picture takes care of itself. Mm-hmm. So also awesome that you set your goal that young and then it was achieved with that school. I mean, women's college hockey hasn't been this, televised nationally for that long, mm-hmm. and you saw it and then just went after it and chased it. And I think one of the biggest things that I've noticed with you, as a kid, you were known to be someone who trained a lot, worked out a lot, skated a lot, but you always did it, in my evaluation, with intent. And I think there's a different mindset that takes. I've been around tons of youth hockey players, and there's always those who think they're working hard. Like, oh, I was at the rink for 4 hours today. It's like, well, you floated around and did nothing for 3.5 of them. But you're always one that goes in with a purpose, with intent. And I'm kind of summarizing what I just took out of that is you had a goal, though. You went in there with something you were going after. So if there's something that you kind of organically just said, it's like if you don't have your goals, you might get lost in this sea of normalness. Like you might not be able to really drive through and stick out. So I think I kind of just took a point from that one to bring it up. But what's going to take place here next year? You played against this Ohio State team 3 straight years in the championship. I'm assuming they're going to be another competitive year again. You girls have won 2 championships. Like, how do you stay hungry for another one? And what else are you working towards?
Yeah, I mean, I think just our team always kind of has a target on our back, just because we are typically top 2 teams in the country. And so I think our team honestly thrives off of that, having a target on our back, more or less. I mean, I think it just makes us hungrier to want it again. And a lot of the team is still from my freshman year. So we have a big class. So there's about eight of us, I'm pretty sure, that are returning right now that are from that freshman year when we won. And we wanted that back-to-back so bad. That was something we really wanted, and it slipped through our fingers at the end of the year, obviously. And now we all 8 of us have the opportunity to do that again. So I think being able to come back and bring that to the younger girls, and I know the girls who won it last year with us are obviously hungry to get it again, because I don't know, just our group as a whole, I've never seen a team come together like that and be so dialed in a moment, and just throughout the entire season. And to have a lot of that core group back for this year is huge, just because we do have an opportunity to do something special again. And so, I mean, I think coming into this year, it's just us knowing that we do have that target, but I think that just makes us even more competitive and wanting us to prove that we are going to be the top team again, I guess, this year. So
yeah, when you play for those marquee programs, everyone gears up and gives their best. Whether I've been in that position as a competitor playing against the top team, and you're always gearing up because it's a big deal when you beat them, or vice versa. When you're that top team, you have to show up every night, and they say it's tough to get to the top and then even harder to stay on top. Yeah. So that's the right mentality. That's what it takes. And now you've accomplished it twice, but you just said it. Our new goal is to win back-to-back. We haven't done that yet. Yeah. So you got to find new ways to keep motivating yourself, even when you're the elite of the elite. Happy to hear you say it's not just, sit back and, kind of lay low for our senior year. You're going after something and chasing after something. So
yeah, I'm really curious about this. In Florida, I see this a lot. In Florida, there's not a lot of girls hockey, so the girls play with the guys all the time. And it's like that in a lot of parts of the country. And one of the hardest things is that guys sometimes they hate it. they feel that they want to make a statement. And especially in the high school ranks in Florida, you'll have guys who will just destroy girls, just destroy them. I don't know how anybody can do that. I don't know how anybody can be that small, but it happens all the time. There was a point where you're playing with guys, and maybe it started so young that it wasn't a big deal, but you had to make guys look bad. I mean, seriously. And I'm really curious for people out here, girls listening to this of all ages, moms and dads trying to help their kids. How did you manage some of that? Because I got to imagine some of the time you got some chirping and some crap for it. Mm-hmm. Can you tell us maybe a time you had some of that and how you got past that? Because you clearly got past it.
I mean, I think I almost it almost just made me hungrier when that would happen, just because I loved it. I was if you're going to be bothered, then I'm out here, I'm just going to bother you more. It wouldn't ever push me away from wanting to be around them, just because I knew that was what was going to get me better. And honestly, I loved it when you would get that little fire from them, and then you kind of just prove them wrong. That's my favorite thing to do, and that's just kind of what I've lived by. But then you also get a bunch of the guys that are the most talented ones that are now playing in the NHL or playing that I got to play with when I was younger, that respect you as a player and respected me at that age, which was awesome, that I got a little bit of mix of both. And so kind of getting that fine line of having those guys that respected you, that were extremely talented and loved being out there with you, but then the ones that also kind of struggled with it too, but I just got to kind of shove it in their face almost. And that's kind of just what kept pushing me forward, because I always kind of had that little bit of competitiveness, rather with the guys, more so when I was younger.
That's great. Is there anything else you want to say to a kid looking at you saying, man, I just want to be her? Because there's kids out there saying, I want to be you. They are. What would you say to them right now?
I mean, it's just more so trusting your process and what you're doing and kind of staying confident within it, because as much as you might think my route has been pretty upward, there has definitely been times that I've had rough patches that people might not necessarily see, but I've stuck through it and just kind of trusted in what my dedication to the sport has been, and the training that I've done, and trusted what I've done throughout the years of my life to get me to where I'm going right now and continue to go. And so I think that's huge, is just trusting in what you're doing and continuing to have that passion and love for hockey.
That's awesome. Again, thank you for being here. It's so great to have you here. You're such a role model for people. And honestly, kids need really strong role models who are actually good people. And you're both those things. Your reputation, everybody loves you. So to summarize, really just things that are actionable here. What's so great is that all the things that we've kind of hoped are real things in your life. One, you're super goal oriented. You've decided what you actually want, what you actually care about, and you go for it. And not in the big way, but in each little step that goes along, which led you to the bigger goals you have now. The other part is you found a way to work with your team, to actually care about them. They care about you. That's one of the things that helped you have the courage to go do crazy big things. And on top of that, your whole life has been about really having a vision for what you truly want. And I think it's so great. It goes back to these things we talk about. Have goals that go toward your vision. Go toward the things you really want in your life, and wrap everybody around you. Be good to everybody. Team is everything. And every time you can encourage other people, it winds up coming back to you. So, Jeff, you want to take us out?
Yeah, and lastly, work toward getting your success that you set out for, and then stay hungry on more success. So really appreciate your time today, Kirsten, sharing your story a little bit. Wish you nothing but continued success, and hopefully from your point of view, you guys can celebrate that back-to-back and go out as a senior with winning 3 out of 4. That'd be amazing. But keep working hard this summer. Keep yourself engaged in the process. And to all of our listeners, remember to stay dialed and stay driven on your goals, as that's the only way to accomplish success.
One of the best saves you will ever see. Keeps this game alive.
Chris Palmer again, the Hockey Mentality Podcast, Dialed and Driven.